A 10-year-old black girl stops to help fix a broken Mustang on a scorching road. But when the wealthy man sees the emerald ring on her finger, everything changes. What seems like a chance encounter unlocks a secret buried for over a decade and shakes an empire built on silence. The summer sun burned like fire pouring down onto the rural road and sending shimmering heat waves dancing across the cracked asphalt. Along that desolate stretch, a young black girl, no more than 11, in an oversized t-shirt and worn-out backpack, trudged alone. Her name was Anya Brooks, an orphan living with her aunt and uncle on the outskirts of Virginia. She had no idea that just a few steps ahead, a small event was about to unlock a door hiding secrets buried for over a decade. A fiery red Mustang sat stranded on the shoulder, its hood flung open like a desperate cry for help. Beside it stood a white man in a sleek suit, sweat trailing down his brow as he barked into his phone. "I've got a meeting with the governor in under 2 hours. Don't give me excuses, just get here." Anya paused, her eyes glimmering with both caution and curiosity. She remembered her aunt's words, "Never approach strangers, especially rich ones." But something about the panic in his voice, the sheer vulnerability on his face, made it impossible for her to keep walking. Anya tightened her grip on her backpack strap and stepped closer. "Excuse me, sir. Do you need help with your car?" Her voice was soft but steady. The man turned momentarily startled. His sharp eyes widened as they scanned the small, dirt-streaked figure before him. Then came the kind of laugh adults often give kids when they don't quite know what to do with them. "Sweetheart, this is a Shelby GT500. It's not a toy." Anya gestured to the engine. "I'm not here to play. My uncle's a mechanic. He's taught me since I was little." Before the man could object, she had already set her backpack down and opened a small tool case, its contents arranged with the precision of a professional. He folded his arms, half smirking, half intrigued. But within minutes, Anya had already pinpointed the issue. "Your coolant hose is cracked. I can patch it up temporarily. You'll make it to town." He didn't say a word, because this wasn't a child messing around. This was a young prodigy who moved with knowledge far beyond her years. As Anya brushed her ponytail aside to get a clearer view of the engine, her hand lifted into the sunlight, and that's when it caught his eye. A flicker of green. Not just any green, but the unmistakable glint of an emerald ring worn loosely on her finger, held in place with a bit of string. The man's breath hitched. "That ring, where did you get it?" he asked, voice trembling more than he expected. Anya's hand instinctively closed over it. "My mom gave it to me, my adoptive mom, Marissa. Before she passed away, she said it meant something important. That one day I'd understand." He stepped back slightly, his chest tightening. Marissa, the nurse who had once worked at a place called Morning Haven, a place that vanished the same week she did. "What's your name?" he asked. "Anya Brooks," she replied, and in that moment his world tilted. The girl in front of him wasn't just a stranger helping him on the roadside. She was a living echo of a promise he had made and failed to keep. Gavin Hartwell, still shaken, offered to drive Anya home as a thank you. She hesitated, remembering Aunt Clara's rule, but there was something in his eyes, not danger, but a kind of storm one he seemed barely able to contain. The ride was quiet at first, the hum of the air conditioner filling the space between them. Then Gavin asked, "Do you live with your parents?" "I live with my aunt and uncle now, Uncle Leon and Aunt Clara. My mom, Marissa, passed away last year in a car crash." He swallowed hard. "Before that, it was just me and her. She adopted me when I was really little. And before that," his voice was careful now, almost afraid of the answer, "I don't remember much. I think I came from a place called Morning Haven, but I'm not sure." Gavin's knuckles whitened around the steering wheel. Morning Haven. The name struck like lightning. He glanced at her again, this small girl, who had quietly saved his day, and realized she was now about to save or undo everything else. The Mustang slowed in front of a small wooden house tucked under a tree-lined street. Anya opened the car door to step out, but Gavin reached into his coat and pulled out a business card. "If you or your family ever need anything," he said, trying to steady his voice, "please call me. Anytime." Anya took the card cautiously, her gaze curious but unreadable. "Thank you, Mr. Hartwell." She walked toward this gate, leaving him alone behind the wheel, the hands gripping the steering wheel so tightly his knuckles went pale. His heart pounded not just with fear, but with guilt. As the gate closed behind her, Gavin pulled out his phone and dialed a number he hadn't used in years. "Elliot," he said, I need everything you can find on a girl named Anya Brooks, her guardian, her adoptive mother Marissa, and anything left from a place called Morning Haven. That night, Gavin didn't sleep, because the past he had locked away was no longer resting. It had come back wearing a green ring and looking him straight in the eyes. In the small room filled with the scent of engine oil and the whispering wind through the old window pane, Anya lay still on her wooden bed. Moonlight filtered in, casting silver patterns across her hand. There the emerald ring glowed softly, as if whispering secrets only the night could hear. She twisted the ring, gently, a habit born of restlessness. But tonight, something shifted. Click. A sound so soft, so deliberate. The gemstone rose slightly, revealing a hidden compartment beneath. Inside was a tiny scroll of paper, yellowed and delicate. Her fingers trembled as she unrolled it. My dearest Anya, if you're reading this, the time has come. There are truths I could no longer keep buried. It was her mother's handwriting, elegant, slanted, and filled with love. Anya clutched the paper to her chest. For the first time, she realized the ring wasn't just a keepsake. It was a key one her mother had hidden, with the belief that one day Anya would be ready to unlock the truth, not just of her past, but of who she truly was. The next morning, Anya walked into the garage where Uncle Leon was fixing an old pickup. Her hands trembled slightly as she held out the open ring and the delicate note. Uncle, Mom left this for me. Leon wiped the grease from his hands, then slowly took the letter. His eyes scanned the words and froze. His breath caught. Who drove you home yesterday? He asked, voice unusually low. A man named Gavin Hartwell. His car broke down and I helped fix it. Leon's expression shifted instantly. He turned toward the house. Clara, he called louder than usual. Aunt Clara came rushing in, and the moment she saw the opened ring, her face went pale. He found her, Leon murmured. Clara nodded with tears already rising. We can't wait any longer. Anya stood there, her heart beating like a drum. She didn't fully understand what was happening, but the fear in their eyes, the way they looked at her, told her everything was about to change. Something long buried had been shaken loose, and the truth was no longer willing to stay hidden. That night, they sat together in the dim living room, no TV, no distractions. Just a quiet lamp casting golden light over the table and an old wooden box resting at its center. Aunt Clara laid her hand on the lid, hesitating. Your mother left this behind, she said softly. She told us to give it to you when the time came. Anya opened it carefully. Inside was a handwritten letter neatly folded and a faded photograph of a smiling nurse holding a little girl's hand. It was her and Marissa, taken in a place Anya couldn't quite recall. The letter began gently. My precious Anya, you may not have my blood, but you have my soul. You were never an accident. You were my choice. Anya bit her lip to hold back tears, but they spilled anyway. Her mother's words unfolded a story of working as a nurse at a so-called orphanage called Morning Haven, and how she discovered something horrific: children being selected, tested, and transferred under false names. She ran with Anya in her arms because she knew they'd come for her. And now, years later, they had. On the other side of the city, Gavin Hartwell sat alone in his office, surrounded by silence and dust-covered files. In his hands were the documents no one was ever supposed to see. Project Celestia, Morning Haven's most sensitive program. Page after page, detailed experiments, behavioral tracking, biometric readings. A list of coded children's names. Then he saw it, Anya T, circled in red. Status special. Under surveillance. Do not lose. He stared at it, horrified. A few pages later, a still frame from old surveillance footage showed Marissa holding a child tightly fleeing across the back courtyard of the facility. Emergency lights flashed behind her. Security scrambled. Gavin pressed the photo to his forehead, voice cracking in the silence. She ran. She really ran. All these years, he had let himself believe it was an accident, that the orphanage's closure was bureaucratic. But now there was no denying it. He had looked away while others erased people like Marissa and Anya from history. And now the truth was back, alive, walking, and wearing a ring. That afternoon, as Anya left her workshop class in town, a man in a gray coat approached her calmly. You're Anya Brooks, right? He asked, polite but intense. She nodded instinctively, stepping back. Who are you? My name is Jude Mercer. I'm a journalist and an old friend of your mother's. I've been investigating Morning Haven and what they called Project Celestia. Anya stiffened. Jude pulled out a worn folder. Before she died, Marissa gave me a partial backup. She wanted it kept safe. It has your name in it, your real name, your designation, everything. He handed her a document. Highlighted in red was her ID and a line that read, "Subject exhibits high mechanical intuition. Recommend enhanced observation." She believed in you, he said, and she believed you would one day finish what she couldn't. Anya held the papers close, her eyes suddenly older than her years. She didn't yet know what lay ahead, but she knew one thing with burning certainty: she wouldn't run. Not this time. Anya sat in the living room of her uncle's modest home. The documents Jude Mercer had given her lay spread across the coffee table, its paper smudged ink and secrets that had waited years to be seen again. One line stood out like a blade in the dark: Subject 817. Displays advanced mechanical orientation. Recommend Tier 3 testing. She read it over and over, heart tightening. How could a line of text make her feel so reduced? "I'm not a subject," she whispered. "I'm not someone's experiment." Leon entered quietly, carrying a cup of ginger tea. He said nothing at first, only placed the cup beside her and sat down. "Do you know why your mother taught you to fix things?" he asked gently. "Because she believed that one day you'd fix something far bigger than machines. You'd fix what they broke in this world." Anya looked up, tears in her eyes, not of fear, but awakening. The papers didn't define her. They were merely a mirror of how others had tried to control her. But from this moment on, she would write her own story. Later that night, Anya sat alone on the garden bench beneath the waning moon. The air was still, as if the world itself had paused to hear her thoughts. A crunch of gravel made her turn. Jude was approaching, hands in pockets. "I don't even know who I am anymore," she murmured. "Was any of it real or just part of their plan?" Jude sat beside her. "You are real, Anya, not because of what they wrote in a file, because of how you've chosen to face it." She blinked at him, eyes glossy with tears. "I'm scared," she admitted. "Not of the truth, but of what it'll cost. If I keep going, I could lose everything." He nodded. "But if you turn back, you lose yourself." The wind picked up, rustling the trees like a lullaby long forgotten. Anya held the emerald ring tightly in her palm. "Then I guess I keep going," she whispered. That night, a quiet, beautiful kind of courage took root in her heart, not loud, not violent, but unshakable. The next morning, following Jude's directions, Anya, Leon, and Jude arrived at an abandoned satellite building once owned by Morning Haven. The metal doors creaked as they forced them open. Inside, silence reigned, a silence too dense to be natural. They moved down narrow hallways, faded with mold and memories. Then they stopped at a door marked Room 4. Anya stepped inside. The room was small and sterile. A cracked metal table stood in the center, cables still coiled beside it like sleeping snakes. On the far wall, a security camera blinked red, still active. "Still has power," Jude murmured. Leon inspected the wall panel. "Probably solar backup," he muttered. "But that means someone's still watching." Anya looked directly into the lens. "If you're watching," she said, her voice calm but sharp as a blade, "then listen closely. I'm not afraid of you, and I'm not running anymore." Her words, spoken into that cold lens, traveled into whatever dark place had once claimed her life. And for the first time, she spoke not as prey, but as a challenger. Only hours after their visit to Room 4, a black car pulled up outside Anya's house. A man in a suit handed Leon a gold-embossed envelope. No return address, just a silver emblem, a six-petal flower. Anya opened the letter with steady hands. "Miss Brooks, you are formally invited to meet with Mr. Maxwell Wraith, chairman of Wraith Corp., regarding matters related to Morning Haven. Transport will arrive at 8 a.m. You may decline, but this opportunity will not return." Leon's jaw clenched. Clara Pale stepped into the room. "Maxwell Wraith," Jude said quietly. "He took over everything after Gavin Hartwell stepped down. He's powerful, calculating, and ruthless." Anya stared at the invitation. Her hands trembled, but not from fear, from resolve. "I'm going," she said. "You don't have to," Clara whispered. "Yes, I do," Anya replied. "They looked down on me once. I want them to see the girl they tried to erase and realize she remembers everything." The next morning, Anya stepped into the sleek limousine wearing her mother's brown coat, the emerald ring glinting like a star on her hand. The city towered around her. Wraith Corp's headquarters rose into the sky like a polished blade. Inside the 47th floor boardroom, Maxwell Wraith sat waiting, silver hair, stone eyes, a voice like velvet over ice. "You're bolder than I expected," he said without looking up. "And you're exactly what my mother warned me about," Anya replied, stepping forward. He raised an eyebrow but said nothing. A thin smile curled on his lips. "You came here to threaten me. I came to return something," she said, placing the ring on the table. Maxwell leaned in. "That ring doesn't scare me." "No," Anya said quietly, "but the truth it unlocks does." The room fell silent. This wasn't just a child standing across from a giant. This was a reckoning. Maxwell Wraith stared at the ring on the table. The cold green gleam met his gaze like a challenge. "You know you're playing with fire," he said softly. Anya didn't blink. "No, I'm burning it down." Maxwell slid an envelope across the table. Inside were printed documents. An elite scholarship offer a life in Europe, protection in silence. "Take it," he said. "You get safety. In return, you forget Morning Haven ever existed." Anya opened the envelope, saw the numbers, the promises, the clean future laid out like a golden cage. Then she folded it. "I didn't come here to be bought. I came to give you a chance to end this before someone else does." Maxwell's smile faded. "You think the world will care. I think they will," she said. "Because I do." She stood, leaving the envelope untouched. As she turned to go, she added, "You built an empire out of stolen futures. I'm not walking away. I'm coming back for the rest of them." And just like that, the child he tried to silence became the storm knocking at his gates. The limousine's windows blurred with the golden blur of city lights as Anya rode home in silence. But inside her, a storm raged louder than traffic, louder than anything. She had looked evil in the face and said no. At home, Jude was pacing when she arrived. "Did he threaten you?" "Oh," she said, voice low. "He offered me paradise. On the condition, I stay silent." And Anya took the envelope from her coat and dropped it into the fireplace. The flames roared to life, swallowing the lies with a hunger that matched her own. Later that night, Jude received an anonymous email. Attached was surveillance footage from Morning Haven, grainy colorless. A woman in a nurse's uniform, Marissa, being dragged down a hallway, her face twisted in horror. The footage cut before anyone could help. Anya stood behind Jude watching. "She didn't die in an accident, did she?" "No," he whispered. She was silenced. Anya stared into the flames again. "Then it's my turn to speak." And from that moment, her fear transformed into fury, pure, righteous, unstoppable. The next morning, they visited an old city archive, abandoned, dusty, forgotten by most. Inside, in a locked cabinet, Jude had found a tape marked Confidential Room 4. Anya watched it play. Marissa's voice clear and trembling. "If you find this, I'm gone. But Anya, my daughter, she's alive. And she's extraordinary. Please protect her. Please finish what I couldn't." The tape continued with files, children's names, test results, relocation schedules, codes. Some names were crossed out. Some were marked lost. Others had the word potential in red ink. Anya looked at her own file. Subject AT-17, high mechanical cognition. Recommend military application. A cold chill went through her spine, but instead of shrinking back, she breathed deeply. "This is enough," she said. "This time I won't just bring the truth. I'll bring everyone who was left behind." The door they once locked her out of, she was opening it, and behind her, others were waiting. 1 week later, Wraith Corp's executive boardroom, once a place where prophets buried truth, hosted a very different meeting. Anya entered with Jude Leon and Clara Vance, a federal prosecutor who had once been orphaned herself. The room was filled with executives, silent and nervous. Maxwell sat at the head, unreadable. Anya placed the ring on the table again, but this time she wasn't alone. Clara turned on the projector. The screen came alive with footage, audio files, medical scans, adoption papers, all real, all damning. Then came the voices, Maxwell's orders, surveillance of children, the echo of screams. One board member whispered, "Dear God." Clara stood. "You funded illegal human experiments. This is no longer corporate mismanagement. It's a crime." Maxwell stood. "This girl is manipulating." "I'm not manipulating," Anya said, stepping forward. "I'm remembering." Her voice cut through the room like a blade. "I'm not a project. I'm not a file. I'm the consequence you never thought would come." And with that, the child who had once been forgotten made herself unforgettable. The news broke like thunder. Girl exposes corporate experiments on children. Wraith Corp faces federal charges. Emerald Ring unlocks hidden crimes. Maxwell Wraith resigned. Clara led a task force to locate every survivor. Gavin Hartwell publicly denounced his father's legacy and donated his shares to the victims. At home, Leon lit a candle for Marissa. "She can rest now," he whispered. In Anya's bedroom, the ring sat in a glass box beside her mother's photo. A small plaque read, "To the woman who ran not from fear but toward justice." Across the city, something new was rising. A school, a refuge, a place where no child would ever be tested, labeled, or silenced again. Its name, the Marissa Light Center. And at its gates stood a statue not of a CEO, not of a founder, but of a girl. A girl holding a wrench in one hand and a ring in the other. Because now the world didn't just know her name, they remembered it. 3 weeks later, in a modest city library, Anya Brooks stood on a small stage before a room full of faces. These were not strangers, they were survivors. Children once hidden behind code numbers and test labels. Now grown, now found. She looked at each one, recognizing something in their eyes, the silence, the pain, the questions no one had answered until now. "You were taken," she said, "labeled, forgotten. But today I speak your names aloud." One by one she read them not as subjects but as people. And with each name a piece of the darkness was lifted. A boy cried silently. A girl held her own hand tightly as if afraid to believe. "But you are not what they did to you," Anya continued. "You are what you've become despite them." The applause didn't come from duty. It came from relief, from a long-held breath finally exhaled. That day, those who were once scattered were joined, and a family formed not from blood, but from survival. 2 years passed. On the land where Morning Haven once stood, now rose a sanctuary of glass light and purpose. The Marissa Light Center, a school, a home, a launch pad. Inside the halls hummed not with commands or control, but with laughter, invention, and freedom. Children who once felt invisible, now designed in robotics, wrote code, repaired engines, and dreamed aloud. Anya, now 13, wore a coat 2 sizes too big and a mind 10 sizes too sharp. She walked the corridors, checking circuits, answering questions, planting encouragement like seeds in spring. She didn't stand above anyone, she stood beside them. In one class, a young boy dropped a wrench and froze. "I messed up," he whispered. Anya knelt beside him and smiled. Mistakes are where magic begins. In this new place, intelligence wasn't exploited, it was celebrated. And the greatest lesson wasn't how to fix machines. It was how to believe again. Because this time, the future wasn't being written for them. They were writing it together. One rainy afternoon, as silver raindrops kissed the center's windows, a woman with jet black hair and trembling hands appeared at the gate. "I'm looking for Anya Brooks," she said. She was led inside, her face pale, but kind, her eyes uncertain. When Anya saw her, she paused. Something inside her stirred. "I'm Nora," the woman said. "Your mother, Marissa, was my sister. We lost touch. I didn't know. I didn't know she was gone. I didn't know you were real." Anya stood frozen, emotions crashing in waves. Family. She had never heard that word used for her beyond Leon and Clara. Nora held out an envelope, her hand shaking. "She wrote to me once, told me if something happened to find you." Anya took the letter. The handwriting was Marissa's. "If you found her, it means hope found its way back." They embraced 2 broken branches from the same tree, now reunited. In that moment, Anya wasn't just someone's legacy. She was someone's niece, someone's family. That evening, a letter arrived at the center. It bore the initials G.H. Gavin Hartwell. Anya read it aloud under the old workshop light. "Dear Anya, my father built Wraith Corp with steel, secrecy, and shame. You tore it down with truth and grace. I spent my life afraid to question what I benefited from. But you at 10 did what men with empires couldn't. I've donated my entire inheritance to a justice fund in Marissa's name. It won't fix the past, but maybe it can build a future." Anya folded the letter and placed it beside her mother's photo. She looked outside where children ran free under the moonlight. She whispered to the wind, "Mom, I hope you see this." And somehow in that quiet, she felt the answer. Because legacies aren't built from towers, they're built from love. The center's first graduation ceremony arrived. 12 students, all from forgotten places, stood tall in the garden amphitheater. Among them, engineers, poets, coders, survivors, dreamers. Anya took the podium, no longer a child hiding behind wires, but a young leader with fire in her voice. When I was 10, she began, I helped a stranger fix his car on the side of the road. I didn't know then that I was also fixing something far bigger, a broken system. She held up the emerald ring, now set in gold, resized, no longer hiding secrets, but carrying them proudly. My mother used to say, broken machines can be fixed. Broken systems must be rebuilt. That's what we've done here. Behind her, the crowd rose in applause, even Nora, even Gavin. Outside, beneath the newly placed sign, every child deserves to flourish. Every gift deserves freedom. Anya stood with Leon and Jude watching the next group of children enter the gates. No fear, no silence, only light. Because now the world didn't fear what a child might become. It believed. Justice doesn't always begin in a courtroom. Sometimes it begins with a small hand fixing what others left broken and a heart that refuses to stay silent. A system can bury the truth, but courage and memory will always find a way back.